Can psychedelics help prevent dementia? What is the current science? My name is Robert Love. I'm a neuroscientist at a medical clinic in Florida. We're reversing Alzheimer's in our patients. I'm here with Dr. Austin Perlmutter, expert in brain health and has done a fair amount and is helping do psychedelic research. Dr. Perlmutter, you're very familiar with the psychedelic research and the brain. What is the data on either the benefits or the harm of psychedelics regarding the brain and dementia?
So what we know about psychedelics is they're some of the most potent molecules on the planet in terms of mental health outcomes. We've seen that psychedelics like ayahuasca as well as psilocybin may have significant benefits for certain people on conditions like depression. But how does this relate to something like dementia? Well, it turns out that many of the same pathways that have been linked to conditions like depression are also linked to dementia. For example, inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. So now what's being studied is whether psychedelics can act on those pathways in a way that could be beneficial in preventing dementia and potentially even within dementia. So why does that matter so much? There's been so much stigma around these molecules because they change state of mind. But when we're looking at 60+ million people around the world right now with dementia and the current state of therapeutics for that condition, we should at least be curious about whether some of these opportunities in molecules like psychedelics could be leveraged for the benefit of society and especially for people who are suffering from or may suffer from dementia. So I'm incredibly optimistic about what the research is suggesting. We're actually publishing research right now showing how various psychedelics could influence pathways like the microbiome, epigenetics, immunity, and metabolic health. And this is absolutely key because we expand the conversation beyond simply talking about changing your mind to using these as medicine in the right people, in the right setting for outcomes like dementia.
And you mentioned off camera how there's some research right now on specifically psychedelics and Alzheimer's disease.
Correct. So multiple studies are going on right now looking at how in people with Alzheimer's, psychedelics may actually improve things like depression, but importantly, how they may improve neuroplasticity, the growth of new brain cells, as well as the connections between brain cells. And this, at least in animal models, has been shown to be one of the most potent ways in which psychedelics work. They help to open up connections between the brain. They help to augment and reprogram the brain potentially for better health outcomes. And it's incredibly promising as we look at what tends to be the case in dementia, which is a decrease in synaptic connections and even a death of various neurons.
And so when do you think that data will be published? We'll have good data on the impact of psychedelics and Alzheimer's disease.
It's ongoing. I'm hopeful that in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll have some really solid understanding. But the key thing right now is to understand that psychedelics are more than just mind-altering substances, that they have the potential to unlock all of these different pathways linked to conditions like dementia. And I should also say, we're looking at psychedelics, or people are looking at psychedelics for things like autoimmune disease for the same reason. It's because these molecules influence key pathways in the body and in the brain, and we need to be aware of that.
Thank you, Dr. Perlmutter.